Chapter 18. Passing the Baton. When Dara was in third grade, I enjoyed watching her participate with her classmates in their end-of-the-year field day events. A sack race, a tug-of-war, 100-yard dash, and other games. The final and funniest event of the day ended up being the relay race. Each class chose a 4-person team featuring its best runners to compete in the event. Dara glanced at me with great pride when she found out she was going to run on her class's team. I gave her a thumbs up and then instinctively sized up the other teams to determine which one had the best chance to win. I quickly concluded Dara's team was the odds-on favorite, of course. The gym teacher held up the baton and explained its importance to all the participants, and he said the relay is a team effort and that the baton links the team together. Runners would begin by running to the end of the field, turn around, and then run back with the baton in their hand. But, he said, the next runner may not run before receiving the baton. Any runner who starts running without the baton will be disqualified, he barked in his gruff gym teacher voice. Within moments, he called out the starting cadence. On your mark, get set, go! And the runners lunged forward, but it didn't take long for a few of them to surge ahead of the pack. Dara's teammate Courtney led the miniature army of runners, and at the end of the field she headed back toward her teammates, well ahead of her competitors. But what happened next both stunned and amused the crowd. Courtney ran so fast and with such intent focus on what she mistakenly believed was the finish line that she ran right past her teammates standing on the starting line with the baton still in her hand. She ran her leg of the race with such enthusiasm and speed that she completely forgot that her fellow runners needed the baton in order to begin their leg of the race. It was a relay. She had teammates. And she forgot their need for her baton. Courtney's teammates, and tons of parents too, tried to get her attention, but she was entrenched in her own world. Come back! Bring back the baton! We're going to lose! The cries rose. Finally, the next runner on the team chased Courtney down, yanked the baton out of her hand, and desperately pursued the second-to-last runner in an all-out effort to get her team back in the race. But oddly enough, the frenzy of the race and her singular focus diverted the girl's attention, and she forgot to pass the baton to Dara at the end of her leg, too. And in spite of their great relay potential, Dara's team didn't win the race or even come close. They did provide a vivid picture of how important passing the baton is. The successful exchange. That field day relay debacle reminded me of the importance of passing the baton in the kingdom of God. No wonder the kingdom suffers from a severe shortage of Plan A laborers, shallow spiritual depth, and far more consumers than contributors. No wonder the kingdom suffers from a severe shortage of Plan A laborers, shallow spiritual depth, and far more consumers than contributors. Not enough people are imitating Jesus and passing the baton. Numerous people have confided in me, stating that they feel stuck in spiritual childhood because no one passed the spiritual baton to them. Too often we have emphasized reaching over teaching. We have spent time and money on worthy evangelistic outreaches, but neglected the time-consuming process of kingdom baton passing. Although God expects us to run on His team, few people have been equipped to run in such a way as to get the prize. And it's not their fault. You can't fault a baby for failing to develop into a high-functioning adult without parents who love, nurture, and model to the child what it means to grow up. As a matter of fact, high-functioning teens and young adults usually have parents beside and behind them, continually passing on to them what is most important. Yet, God's kingdom falters from an absence of spiritual maturity and the lack of understanding about kingdom laborship. While filled with potential, we lack the nurture required in order to develop. Too many needy and deserving people wait for anyone, to come alongside and pass to them what will transform their Plan A potential into reality. Passing the baton isn't foreign to our experience. We see it modeled when work supervisors mentor their young employees, when devoted coaches spend extra time instructing their young athletes, when teachers pass insights to their students, or when parents devote themselves to imparting key values and important life skills to their children. Likewise, kingdom laborers who not only run their own leg of the race with perseverance, but also devote themselves to passing batons to other runners, make all the difference. Unfortunately, this rarely takes place. Perhaps we haven't clearly understood the anatomy of a successful baton pass. The Q&As of a successful baton pass. As I witnessed Dara's field day, I realized passing the baton doesn't just happen. It requires intentionality and teamwork. Because successful coaching and baton passing flourishes in a climate of dialogue. I'll describe a successful baton pass through a series of questions and answers. What is the baton? The baton is the spiritual wealth God has given you, which can help other people near you function with greater influence, spiritual energy, strength, confidence, fervor, focus, knowledge, or speed. Who should I pass the baton to? God will prompt you as you seek His guidance. See chapter 14. He knows what you have to offer and who needs it most. Baton passing relationships work best when the two people are of the same gender. The receiver must be reliable, 2 Timothy 2:2, hungry for God and His truth, demonstrate a teachable spirit, show respect for you, and desire to live a God-pleasing life of spiritual obedience and influence. What does it mean to pass the baton? Passing the baton means freely sharing your spiritual wealth with others. Anytime you share what God has taught you, how He's encouraged you, or allowed you to learn from others, and you share it with people for their spiritual growth and Plan A living, you are baton passing. It usually occurs in the context of relationships, so it develops organically and formally rather than systematically, formally. When do I pass the baton? When you live and train as a Plan A runner on God's relay team, you see runners everywhere to whom you can pass the baton. Be aware that they may pass a baton to you as well. But as you actively seek out other runners, you will discover endless opportunities to talk, pray, encourage, bless, and pass everything you can to them. Can I pass the baton? If you assume you have very little to offer, you may be equating passing the baton with an information brain dump. But the best passers are people with practical tips that come from real life experience. What does passing the baton look like? Your passing skills will develop as you become a student of your Eduardo's life, as you learn to recognize his or her strengths and weaknesses. Pray with them and for them. Ask God to grow in your heart His love for them. Affirm their strengths in every way you can. Speak of them out loud, in print, in front of others, and when you pray with them, thanking God for His plans to further His kingdom through them. Ask God to reveal their weak areas, and then help you discern the best way to speak the truth in love. Seek God's continual presence and help in the process of this delicate soul surgery. I love the way Larry Crabb conveys this idea in his important book, Connecting. When I sense that you want to discover what's wrong with me and change me, I will either slide into passivity, go ahead, fix me, or raise myself up to an arrogant height. I can handle things. I'll consider what you say, but I'll make sure I don't buy all of it. But when I know that you love me, that you believe in me, that you recognize something terrific in me, that you long to see my potential released, I'm more inclined to receive you and let you pour into my life. We trust people who delight in us, who see the good beneath the bad and call out the good. It's your turn. Imagine that you're a part of a relay team. The runner before you has passed the baton in your hand. Now it's your turn. You begin running your leg of the race as swiftly as you can. You stumble here and there, but you keep getting up. You know that all runners stumble from time to time in this race. You round the corner of the track and you see a teammate standing before you with an outstretched arm. The runner's gaze is fixed ahead as you begin your approach. What will you do? Go ahead. With God's Spirit helping you, pass your baton.